Hello, welcome to Art History Renaissance to Modern, Spring of 2026. My name is Tracy Service, and I am your instructor for the course. This is Southwest Tech, and yes, welcome. So today is about introductions, and this is probably like my third time like filming this video. So I'll be taking little sips of water. I apologize if my voice is a little hoarse. I haven't made a video for a while. I also have two Shih Tzus, and because I have a day job, I'm a high school art teacher, and so they're kind of scratching around and getting ready for sleep, being a little annoying, but very cute. And so hence I've had to restart my video. Maybe you'll get to see them sometime. But this week is all about introductions, so introducing the course and what to expect from it, and what you'll learn this semester. All right, so I'm going to be as straightforward as possible. All right, so I also already told you, my name is Tracy Service. I told you about my dogs. I was born and grew up in Wisconsin. I'm teaching up north right now, and I have my BFA, so in fine arts and art education. I have my master's in fine arts. I studied painting, drawing, and art history. I also just completed my master's in education, and I also just started my PhD in K through 12 education administration. All right, and I'm going to talk through the syllabus. So you'll find everything on Schoology, and I can't really flip back and forth on the video here. So if you want to pull it up, and we'll go, and I'll just talk through the syllabus a little bit. All right. So this is a liberal arts transfer course. So this is a 3-credit course and it counts towards that. I have my contact information at the top. So I check my emails in the morning when I wake up and then also in the evening. And I try to get back to you within 24 hours. I also have a mobile phone. So if you can't for some reason access your email and you need to contact me about something, I have a mobile that's just like devoted to work for class if you need to contact me about the course. So this is a full semester course and it runs through May 15th and it's fully online. So this is the third semester that I've taught it. The first time was fully in person, and last semester and then also this semester is fully online. Okay, so this is the survey of the developments of European and American art and architecture from the early Renaissance in Italy through the first quarter of the 20th century. So emphasis is placed to the form and the meaning of a select group of artworks and buildings, their stylistic tendencies and movements in the history of art, and the socio-political and cultural contexts for these movements. So basically, we're going to be looking and analyzing artworks and how they fit into the culture and history of their time. Okay, so the textbook that is required for this course is Art History Volume 2, the 7th edition. If you do have the 6th edition, that should work fine too. This is the most updated version, and it is required. Because I cannot cover everything in the lectures online, I will post the slideshows from every week, and even that's very difficult to cover in a video. So the slideshows will be posted. So, and that's those slideshows are basically from the textbook too. So those two sources of information are your like main go-to sources. And then other than that, you really just need reliable internet. Okay, then underneath that is the grading information. So guidelines for success for this course, I will go over that. So these are my in-person guidelines, but I feel like they're pretty much the same for being successful online. So attending class regularly. So, watching the videos, especially the first part of the video, is important because I will clarify assignments. I will clarify or go over what's going to be covered on a quiz. Or I might model something that you're going to do in an assignment to kind of help make it easier for you. And if active participation too is asking questions. So I know that people that are most successful in this course would be the people, like when I was teaching in person, that would stay after class and ask questions. Like there's no question like that is, what is the cliche? There's no stupid question. There's no dumb question. Like during class, you can ask questions. I mean, now you can't, but students would ask questions either during class or stay after class to ask a question if they didn't feel comfortable during class, or just email me. I don't have set office hours, but my schedule is pretty flexible, and we can do like a quick Zoom or like Google Meet or whatever is easy for you. But I am available to meet with you online to go over materials, to clarify anything that you are not understanding well. So read and review the assigned materials. So every week, we're going through a chapter in the book. So this first week, you'll want to read the introduction. Next week, we're going to dig into chapter 19. That will be our first chapter that we're going to start on. But this week, you'll be reading the introduction. And there's a lot of important information in there that I don't have time to cover in class. So I'm not sure if I said this, but I'm going to try to keep my videos to about half an hour, because I feel like if they go longer, I'm, not sure if you're going to get everything out of it that you need, because there's so much to cover. So I try to go over the most important things. I don't want to rush through things just for the sake of talking through like a slideshow, because the slideshows are very long. And when I took art history courses, it was hours of sitting there as the instructor went slide through slide through slide. We basically had to memorize every artwork, which I don't really think was helpful. And so what I want to focus on in this class is to analyze art critically and work on those writing skills and the competencies for the course. Okay. When I took art history, we also did a lot of writing. And the slideshows, even though they are long, and like I said, I'm not going to cover them in the videos, because you can see them online, they still do contain important information that you can use, because a lot of your assignments will be based on picking out an artwork, or I might ask you to analyze one of those artworks. And so there it is available for you in the textbook or online. So you don't have to go searching for a lot of sources. If you do, I will give you like links to things that you can see. And then plan ahead for assignments and exams. I do start talking about like the midterm paper and the final paper about 3-4 weeks beforehand, so you have time to plan for it. All right, and then the rest of the syllabus does talk about like the core competencies of the course and what you'll be doing. And then, yes, at the bottom of the syllabus is the disability statements, the financial aid policy, the student code of conduct is there. Also, the Title IV statements, and then withdrawing from the course. So I do want to mention that. So the last day to withdraw from this course is to 80% of completion. So you do want to refer to the student handbook for that. Okay. And to just know that you belong here, Southwest Tech is committed to providing a welcoming learning environment and a sense of community where all students can experience success, and I'm here to help you do that. And we are here to empower and inspire members of the community to embrace differences and defend human dignity and respect everyone's values and richness and ideas. And so you all bring something very unique to the course. And so I really love reading your posts and hearing your unique viewpoints. Some students like to bring in their own personal experiences into some of the discussion questions, which will become more clear as we go on. But it's fun to read. All right. And so, yes, art history. We're really going to be talking about the research and methodology of it, because it is different from just looking at art or just looking at history. You're combining them together, and like how history influences art, and also in some cases how art has influenced history. And what is art? That's the big question that we're always asking. Okay, so learning objectives. So explain the cultural foundations and diverse ways art has been defined and characterized. So I know you can't answer this today. It's like a big question, but we're going to look at how art and culture are, how connected they are. And in the introduction, you'll distinguish 4 ways art historians investigate works of art, and then be able to identify those 4-part methods of art historical investigation. Okay. So the time periods that we're going to cover throughout the course, and I don't really have a set schedule on the syllabus just because I try to also be a little flexible with like the class needs. Like sometimes we might just spend extra time talking about one topic, but we will cover all of these things. So Renaissance art and architecture, the High Renaissance in Northern Europe and the Iberian Peninsula, the Baroque period, Neoclassicism, Rococo and Romanticism, Impressionism, modern art, and then postmodern and contemporary art. Okay, so I will talk about assignments. So every week you'll have 2 assignments. So there'll be a discussion board. And so every weekly, there is a discussion board. Your first discussion question is the second point here, and I'll go over that in a little bit. I introduce at the beginning of each video what your assignments are for this week. So this week, for example, you're reading through the introduction and looking at how art historians investigate art. All right, so that's the reading aspect. Also, there's a discussion question on the discussion board every week. So your response is due Wednesday. And then you have to respond to 2 of your classmates, and that is not due until Sunday evening. So that gives you, the rest of the week to, make those responses. And the details of that will be in the discussion question too. And then usually the other assignments are a journal entry, which is a writing piece, usually about analyzing a work of art. And doing that every week is really going to help you set you up to have a successful midterm paper and a successful final. So last year, instead of having a final paper, we did a video presentation, like a pre-recorded video presentations. But I usually talk about those things like a month in advance to prepare you. All right, and so the journal entries or the quizzes, those are also due Sunday evenings for those of you that like to work on the weekends. If you have any questions too, so that gives you all week to ask questions if you're not clear about something about the homework, you just, please send me an email and we can go over it together more in depth. And I usually present the discussion question and the journal entry or whatever the assignment will be, the second assignment will be, at the beginning of the video lecture. That way you can prepare for it. Like you could take notes down during the video lecture, or just kind of like have in your mind what to look for. And I just feel like it makes it easier. I'm going to post actually a second video to help you with the first week's journal entry. So the first journal entry this week is to review the investigation methods of art history. So that would be after the reading, you'd want to pick an art piece from the introduction and do a compositional analysis. So I'm going to make a second video and I'll post that also. I do have a YouTube channel where I'll post these videos. They're also posted on the Southwest Tech site, but sometimes if the videos because I make new videos every week, and every semester. So if the videos on the Southwest Tech site aren't put up right away, you can access it on YouTube. So there'll be this video, which is the course introduction, and then the second video, I'm just going to do an analysis of an artwork that I feel like is really going to help with your first journal entry. Okay, so your first journal entry will be analyzing a work of art, and then remember to cite the piece correctly. So every week when you do a journal entry, you should be citing a piece. That's putting down the name of the artwork, the artist that made it, the year it was made. And I have a document that I'll put in Schoology that tells you how to do that. And then the first discussion question too, which you'll do on the discussion board, and your initial response or entry is due Wednesday, is like, what is art to you? So art is very subjective and diverse concepts, and it is a wide variety of expressions and forms. And so in your own words, what does art mean to you? So what are its qualities, expressions, and forms do you find most aesthetically pleasing? And share a piece with the class and briefly describe what qualities attract you to it. So it can be a piece from the introduction if you want to, because the slideshow will be posted. You can pick one of those art pieces if you want to, or you can pick like an art piece, just like last semester. Some students chose artworks to talk about from like a museum visit that they did that they really enjoyed, or they talked about their favorite song. Some students talked about poetry. So, for this first assignment, you don't have to limit yourself. You can just like any piece of art that speaks to you, you can talk about. And again, if you want to, you can take it from the introduction of the book too. Okay. All right. So for the journal, these are the guiding questions, and I'm going to talk about this more in depth in the second video that I do. I'm going to do like a art analysis based on these 4 questions. So describing, analyzing, interpreting, and deciding, which is really what art historians do when they're looking at a piece of art. And I think especially for this first week, like using these 4 questions is going to be really helpful and kind of simplify things from the chapter or introduction of the book. And as the semester goes on, you'll kind of get deeper into like the cultural aspects of artworks or the political connections that they have and other historical connections. Okay, and so the big question is, what is art? So it can be about quality, it can be about production, expression, or the realm of what is beautiful. It's something human-made, and actually today, we can really question that with AI, but it combines creative imagination and technical skill. It can be conceptual meaning for an elite target audience, or, we see it throughout time, the audience has changed. And also attempt to pose challenging questions or to unsettle deep-seated like cultural ideas or like what your ideas about art are. So like during this course, we're going to look, especially when we get to the more contemporary and modern art pieces, They're going to be maybe things that some of you have not seen before, might be very new to you, and hopefully they really question your ideas of what art is or what makes art beautiful. And yes, that's what I hope to do. All right, so for example, we look at this first piece by Mark Rothko. And he has a piece at the art gallery in Madison. All right, so this is an abstract work of art. It's called Magenta, Black, Green, and Orange. And it was very criticized for its time to be something similar to what a child would create. So he did create his artwork to be very childlike, but he really wanted his artwork to be a very spiritual experience with the way he used color and brought people into his paintings. And so some of the slides I will flip through very quickly to get to certain points quicker. So you can always go back at the slideshow and look at things more in depth. So if we're looking at quilts, we can see that what maybe was not considered art at one time is considered art today. So quilts were not accepted or appropriated as works of art until relatively recently. So what our definition of art does change over time. Okay, and we're going to look a lot at architecture. And then also, what is art history? So that's a big question. So art historians seek to understand the meaning of art from both the point of view of its producer and its consumers and the time it was created. All right, so types of investigations include assessments of the physical properties. All right, so these are the 4 things. And then I'm going to pause after this and stop the video and just kind of like reiterate really quickly what I want you to do this week. So types of investigations include assessments of the physical properties. So what you're looking at. So what are the properties of the artwork? Is it a painting? Is it a sculpture? Is it a building? And then you're analyzing that visually, like the techniques that were used, the materials that were used, and things of that nature. And then identifying the subject matter and the symbolism of it. And then also, how does it fit within its cultural context? All right, so those are the 4 main things. So today really was like an introduction to the course. And so what I want you to do is read the introduction in your textbook, because it's going to go more in depth on these investigations. And you'll be able to look at some artworks that if you can't come up with any artworks for the discussion question or for the journal entry, you can take them right out of that introductory, the introduction of the textbook, or from the slideshow that I'm going to post on Schoology. And I'm also going to make a video that's going to model an investigation of an artwork. Okay? All right, so I look forward to reading your first discussion post, your first journal entry. And again, please do not hesitate to email me if you are feeling lost in the course or if you need help getting started. So I'm here to, not just teach you, but I'm here to guide you through this semester. And I'm really looking forward to it. All right. And so I will be posting a video too about investigating an artwork. All right. Thank you. And I will see you next week.